Righto, so now we've got the King's one. First thoughts, it's cheap. It feels nasty. Is what it is. It has springs on both ends. It has plastic dags floating about everywhere, and there's this really interesting dust on the hose. Whatever. Anyway, something I have noticed is that on the earlier ones, they didn't use a snap ring or a C-clip or a circlip. They just used a piece of steel wrapped around the circlip groove. They've actually put a circlip in here, and the circlip groove looks really small, funnily enough. But it appears to be holding thus far. The rest of it feels okay. There's a bit of movement in the shaft. At the end of the day, it just comes down to building tolerances. But we'll see if it actually seals properly as it should and how it goes. So we're back up to 40 psi and see what happens. Alright, first things first, the gauge does go from 60 to 0 and we're showing 40.5, so it actually looks a little more accurate than the last one. Anyway, let's see how it goes deflating. It is actually sealed, which is good. It's sealing, surprisingly. So anyway, let's go. So we've just dropped 10 for 10 seconds, and we are, according to the gauge, at 32 psi. Alright, let's go another 20 seconds. Alright, so we're 30 seconds total, and we are down to 24 psi on the gauge. Alrighty, last 30 seconds. Alright guys, there goes 1 minute, and on the gauge we are showing 13 psi after 1 minute. So, with that said, like I said, it's not leaking, which is nice. So we'll put the valve back in, and once we've done that, we'll give it a test with our yeah, right, that's I don't know if that's actually seated the valve or not. No, it has. It just feels a bit even pushing down, it's not sitting on that valve really well. It's a little interesting. And I think it's actually leaking a smidge. Anyway, we can tighten that up. So with that, that's yeah, the action's pretty smooth. It works, it does its job. It's not the greatest thing in the world I've ever played with. We'll see what the accuracy is like. So it's supposedly at 13 psi. And according to our blue point gauge, it's actually sitting at 12, so reasonably close. Reasonably close. Alrighty. With that done, let's get on to our next one.